Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Grace's fake MRI results are going to ruin everything. B&B spoilers say that Grace Buckingham's $1 million medical ruse falls apart as more and more people question Liam's brain tumor. Did she fabricate the operation and MRI to trick Bill Spencer? Finn and Bridget look into the shocking lie. The fake brain tumor that fooled Bill Spencer and cost Grace Buckingham $1 million in medical bills. The biggest medical scam in B&B history is about to go up in flames. Los Angeles is about to see the most catastrophic betrayal in recent soap history. Dr. Grace Buckingham has pulled off what might be the cruelest fraud ever seen on our screens, and Bill Spencer just paid her a cool $1 million for a procedure that never happened. There are so many levels of lies here that I need to explain them to you. Grace didn't just fake a surgery. She didn't just stage a medical procedure. This woman is said to have made up a whole brain tumor diagnosis to get money from a desperate parent. And the kicker? Liam Spencer, poor Liam who didn't know what was going on, probably never got cancer. The perfect crime. Or so she thought. Here's when it gets very twisted. Grace, a cardiologist, somehow convinced guilt-ridden Bill that she could conduct experimental brain surgery on his son. The red flags? Oh, they were waving like crazy. A mystery Dr. Alikari who purportedly traveled in from overseas but was never seen. A private clinic that fans are calling a back alley surgery setup. And that hefty $1 million price tag that had Grace almost salivating. But wait, it gets worse. Remember when Liam collapsed? When he had those blurred vision episodes? Viewers are now certain Grace was poisoning him to manufacture bogus symptoms. Those medications she prescribed? Probably not for any tumor. More likely they were designed to make a healthy man appear terminally ill. The woman essentially manufactured a disease out of thin air and then charged $1 million to cure it. The Buckingham legacy of lies continues. Let's not forget that this isn't the first time a Buckingham has perpetrated enormous medical fraud. Grace's ex-husband, Dr. Reese Buckingham, physically stole Hope Logan's baby and sold it to Steffy Forrester. The apple doesn't fall far from the criminal tree, apparently. It's like medical malpractice runs in their DNA. And now Grace has taken the family business to new heights. Or should I say new lows? Bill Spencer. From dollar bill to $1 million sucker. This is what really gets me. How could the intelligent, calculated Bill Spencer fall for such an obvious scam? The man who built a media empire, who can smell fraud from a mile away, just wired $1 million without asking for a second opinion? But here's the point. Bill wasn't thinking like Dollar Bill. He was thinking like a guilt-stricken father who hated himself for Luna Nozawa shooting his son. Grace didn't just swindle a businessman. She preyed on a grieving dad who would have paid any price to preserve his child. Absolutely diabolical. The MRI results that will seal her fate. Now Grace is set to disclose MRI results showing Liam's tumor has mysteriously vanished. But let's be serious. Those results are as bogus as a $3 bill. She's undoubtedly had them made from day one, ready to whip out as proof that her phony surgery worked. But she didn't count on two extremely essential factors, Dr. Finn Finnegan and Dr. Bridget Forrester. These two actual doctors are already poking around. They realize something's not right. Finn and Bridget have been bringing up Grace's infractions of etiquette since day one. And when they demand to see Liam's original scans, when they run their own tests, game over. What happens when the truth explodes? Can you possibly picture Bill's response when he discovers he's been played? The humiliation, the anger. We're about to see Dollar Bill liberated like never before. Grace should have a strong escape plan because when Bill Spencer wants retribution, he doesn't simply get even, he destroys everything. And poor Liam? Not only does he have to absorb that his life-saving surgery was a complete scam, but that his father exposed him to an unneeded medical procedure conducted by a con artist. The psychological impact alone could affect him permanently. Some fans are even theorizing that the bogus operation might genuinely alter Liam's personality. Imagine him waking up as a darker, more vicious version of himself. Grace Buckingham thought she'd pulled off the ideal crime. Fake a diagnosis, arrange a procedure, collect the payment, provide bogus results. Simple, right? Wrong. Because in the world of soap operas, secrets never remain buried. And this secret? It's about to burst with the fury of a nuclear bomb. Prison bars are calling Grace's name, much like they did for her criminal ex-husband. The Buckingham legacy of medical deception is going to come to a stunning, tragic conclusion. Will Finn and Bridget disclose the truth before Grace can flee with the money? Will Bill detect the deceit on his own? Or will little Douglas miraculously come upon evidence? One thing's for certain. When this house of cards comes tumbling down, it's going to take numerous personalities with it. The fallout will be epic. Relationships will crumble. Lives will be devastated. And Grace Buckingham will realize that you can't outsmart the combined rage of the Spencer and Forrester families. Buckle up, soap aficionados. The next 3 weeks are going to be an unbelievable roller coaster of revelations, confrontations, and consequences. Because when you mess with Bill Spencer's family, you better be prepared for war. Liam's homecoming stuns Hope and Steffy. The bold and the beautiful recap for Thursday, July 17th, shows that Liam Spencer's reappearance stunned Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester. Bill Spencer also revealed his son's secret treatment, so here's how Thursday's explosive B&B episode went down. At the exclusive surgical center, Grace Buckingham said she was sending Liam off for an MRI and told Bill that he could go home after that. Bill was astonished considering Liam recently had major surgery, but Grace promised they'd transport him in an ambulance, give him a nurse, and set him up with all he needed at Bill's apartment. At the hospital, John Finnegan and Bridget Forrester voiced more worries about Liam being released so quickly. Bridget had to think a good doctor like Grace was acting in Liam's best interests when she approved that. Finn contacted Steffy, who put it on speakerphone so that Hope could hear updates on Liam, too. Both Hope and Steffy were startled to find that Liam had been released into Bill's care. Finn revealed that Dr. Buckingham approved it, but Steffy and Hope were still mystified and frightened. Back with Bridget, she contacted to ask about Grace's location and realized she wasn't even in the building. Hope and Steffy also arrived at the hospital seeking to make sense of all this. At the surgical facility again, Bill assured Grace that $1 million transfer was done, so she was thrilled. Grace answered a phone call and advised the person on the other end not to worry, since it was occurring now. After Grace insisted she couldn't talk and disconnected, Liam returned from his MRI and groggily took Bill's hand. Grace informed out that the findings will be in later and would hopefully confirm the whole tumor removal, but he may go ahead and take Liam home. Once Bill expressed how appreciative he was, he eventually got Liam installed in a room at his mansion. A nurse was also there, so Bill questioned her about the MRI results and discovered she'd share them once they were sent over. Bill finally contacted Steffy, who put him on loudspeaker so that Finn, Bridget, and Hope could hear the latest Liam news as well. Once Bill reported that Liam had an experimental surgery performed by Dr. Buckingham and her colleague, Finn and the others were shocked, especially because Liam had already been gone home. Bill pointed out that this offered Liam a chance to live before hanging up. Hope and Steffy learned Beth Spencer and Kelly Spencer might not lose their dad after all. Therefore, they were hopeful. After Bill turned his focus back to Liam, he vowed that this had to work and that Liam was going to be cured. At Il Giardino, Deacon Sharp doted on Sheila Sharp and felt she was a hero like Liam. Almost losing Sheila worried Deacon, but she offered reassurance. Liam's unconscious release, Hope and Steffy's horror. The bold and the beautiful recap is officially in for Thursday, July 17th, 2025. In today's episode, Grace Buckingham releases Liam Spencer into Bill Spencer's custody. Meanwhile, John Finnegan informs Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester Finnegan some frightening news. Grace Buckingham's victory. At the surgical center, Grace tells Bill that Liam should make a full recovery. After another MRI, Grace tells Bill that he can take Liam home today. Bill is stunned. Shouldn't he stay in a hospital? Grace states that Bill will be the one carrying Liam home. The recuperation had to be done somewhere, and she felt Bill would appreciate the privacy. Liam will get a private nurse and will have someone set up all the equipment. Grace asks about the wire transfer. Bill claims it's already done. Grace brightens and smiles. She accepts a phone call and informs the caller that it's happening now. Read this. Find out what occurred in the last episode of B&B. John Finnegan's concern. At the hospital, Finn and Bridget Forrester question why Grace freed Liam. This is pretty unusual, and then Bridget gets a call from the charge nurse, Margaret. The woman tells Bridget that Grace isn't even in the building today. At Bill's house, a nurse checks on Liam's vitals. She informs him that soon the MRI results arrive. She'll share them with Bill. Read this. The bold and the beautiful set stage for an unexpected new couple. Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester Finnegan's discovery. Meanwhile, Hope and Steffy are at Forrester Creations. Steffy says that things with Sheila Carter Sharp are even more complex today. Steffy feels appreciation for Sheila trying to help her, but it's messy. They turn the topic to the kids. How much longer can they hide the truth from the girls about Liam? Finn calls and puts it on speaker since Bridget is there. Steffy also puts it on speaker, so Hope can hear. That is when Hope and Steffy find out that Grace released Liam into Bill's custody. The women worry and want explanations. The women run to the hospital and meet up with Bridget and Finn. Steffy tried phoning Bill 15 times on the way over there, and he wouldn't pick up. Suddenly, Bill calls and informs Steffy that he has Liam. Finn says he has major concerns regarding Liam's condition. Bill tells Liam had an experimental surgery today. Over at Il Giradiono, Deacon Sharp and Sheila are speaking. When Deacon is called away for a moment, Sheila experiences a flashback of the shooting. When Deacon returns, Sheila asks about Liam. Deacon thinks that Finn and Steffy will soon recognize that Sheila is a hero. Sheila isn't so sure Steffy will ever consider her that way. Deacon encourages Sheila and they kiss. Grace's fake MRI results set to unravel everything. The $1 million medical scam that could destroy lives and legacies on B&B. Los Angeles may never recover from the seismic controversy developing behind the walls of a sleek private clinic, where deception, desperation, and a cool $1 million clashed in what is fast becoming the largest medical scam in bold and the beautiful history. At the center, Dr. Grace Buckingham, the exquisite, calculating cardiologist who just may have pulled off a medical swindle so diabolical, so cold-blooded, that even her ex-husband Reese Buckingham's baby-switching crimes look like child's play in comparison. It all began when Bill Spencer, guilt-ridden and anxious after his son Liam Spencer was shot in the turmoil sparked by Luna Nozawa's rampage, found himself staring down a doctor's grave diagnosis. Liam had an incurable brain tumor, or so he was told. But the reality, now coming to the surface, is so twisted it beggars belief. There was no tumor. There was no genuine surgery. And Grace? She wasn't a miracle-working hero. She was a con artist, constructing a web of deceit so compelling it duped even Dollar Bill into giving over $1 million for an operation that never happened. But now that phony MRI results are set to be uncovered by none other than Dr. John Finn Finnegan and Dr. Bridget Forrester, the entire house of cards is teetering, and the repercussions will be nuclear. Bill Spencer has always been a titan of power, media mogul, cutthroat investor, and great strategist. But none of his boardroom skill could prepare him for the anguish of nearly losing Liam. And when Grace Buckingham came to him talking about an experimental surgery that could save his boy's life, he didn't hesitate. He didn't question. He wired the money. He followed her lead. And now he's learning that Grace saw him not as a parent in agony, but as an easy mark, a walking checkbook, a man desperate enough to believe anything. Grace told him there was a rare tumor. She showed him scans. She spoke about a strange foreign neurosurgeon, Dr. Alakari, whose credentials couldn't be verified and who never once came at Liam's bedside. And when Bill raised questions, Grace calmed him with reassurances, technical jargon, and false hope. Meanwhile, Liam, unconscious and vulnerable, was being pumped full of medications that may have caused his fuzzy vision, his collapse, and his bewilderment. Pills, Grace said, were for pain control or neurological stability. But Bridget, upon studying the quantities and components later, highlighted them as odd. And Finn, he smelled something odd from the beginning. Why would a cardiologist be performing a neurological trial without sufficient oversight? Why would a world-class neurosurgeon agree to operate in a facility that isn't even accredited? Finn and Bridget investigate deeper, requesting Liam's original MRI, only to discover the scan was never properly uploaded to any hospital database. What Grace showed Bill may have been a doctored image, an old scan from another patient, say. Or worse, a wholly created one, constructed using AI and Photoshop-level technology, with phony dates, fake signatures, and fake outcomes. As Bridget and Finn pool their resources and contact medical ethics committees, Bill begins to realize something is awry. His son's recovery seems strange. There's no scar, no post-op swelling. The so-called miraculous healing doesn't stack up. And when the nurse assigned to Liam fails to answer simple questions regarding his medication protocol, Bill's instincts, dormant under his fatherly panic, ignite. He starts retracing the money trail. He challenges Grace's credentials. And he makes a shocking discovery. Dr. Alakari doesn't exist. The passport number Grace gave for insurance verification? Fake. The clinic's listed address? A shuttered spa, reconfigured overnight with rental equipment. The $1 million procedure that saved his son's life? A perfectly crafted illusion. And now, the final nail in the coffin. Grace's latest MRI results arrive. They reveal Liam is cancer-free. But Finn, infuriated, proves they're duplicated from a different patient's paperwork. Bridget sends Liam through a true MRI, and the images are crystal clear. There's no tumor. There never was. Grace's world begins to disintegrate. She receives a subpoena. The medical board initiates an immediate investigation. Her phone is confiscated. And Bill, he is a guy unchained. He comes into Grace's office like a cyclone, his eyes filled with betrayal and wrath. You played God with my son's life, he spits. And now I'm going to make sure you never play doctor again. His rage sends shockwaves through the Forrester and Logan families. Katie tears when she hears the truth. Brooke demands to know why no one called Ridge sooner. Donna tries to soothe Hope, who is absolutely broken by the possibility that Liam might have been well all along, had he only been diagnosed by a professional medical. Hope's meltdown is gut-wrenching. She tosses Grace's prescription bottles against the wall in her cabin, shouting, "You let me believe he was dying. You let me weep him as he slept in that bed." And Steffy? Her guilt is overwhelming. She and Finn relive every moment of Liam's coma, every vigil, every whispered "don't die," now thinking it may all have been orchestrated. Worse still, she concerns what this might do to Liam's psyche. The agony of feeling he was dying, only to wake up and find out it was all a lie, would damage him beyond repair. And it does. Liam started acting weirdly, detached, cold. When Hope embraces him, he stiffens. When Kelly visits, he barely reacts. Something has shifted in him. Something dark. He stares at the mirror for long stretches, whispering, "Why didn't I die?" Rumors swirl that the cocktail of drugs Grace gave him may have neurological consequences. Or maybe it's psychological. A man pushed to the point of death, only to find out he was a puppet in a Kamuman's game. Either way, the Liam who returns isn't the same. As Grace's trial near, her daughter Zoe resurfaces, emotionally confronting her mother. "You told me you changed," she cries. "You promised you weren't like Dad." Grace attempts to spin it, insisting she only did what she did to save Liam. But no one's buying it. Reese Buckingham from his prison cell gives a television interview stating, "Guess Grace finally caught up to me. Told her this game will bite her back." The fallout is devastating. Bill launches a civil complaint. The medical board revokes Grace's license. The FBI begins investigating potential fraud charges across state boundaries owing to the false MRI and foreign doctor scam. Ridge and Brooke hold a press conference demanding for stronger monitoring of private clinics. Bridget's name is cleared when her brief contact with Grace gets investigation. Finn, now acclaimed hero, is troubled by the fact that he didn't discover the swindle sooner. And Hope? Hope moves out of the cabin. She tells Liam she needs space because, while she's grateful he's alive, she can't connect with the man who came back. As the dust settles, one question remains. Did Grace act alone? Or was someone else behind the scam? A dodgy investor? Another discredited doctor? There are whispers of a foreign syndicate that runs black market clinics for profit. One of the MRI technologists vanishes mysteriously. And in the closing shot of this week's Friday cliffhanger, Grace, handcuffed and defiant, is seen mouthing the words, "You have no idea who I work for."